Well, 7 of the most powerful people in Minnesota spent today at a school on the Iron Range. The stop is part of an outreach effort meant to give students an inside look at how the highest court in the state operates. Northern News Now's Rob Coles explains why the Minnesota Supreme Court went back to school at Rock Ridge.
It's homecoming week at Rock Ridge. While the football game may be the big draw Friday, a gathering at the auditorium Thursday was a packed house.
I've been excited since we learned that this was coming to our school.
This is the Minnesota Supreme Court coming to school to hear oral arguments in front of students.
Good morning to everyone.
The people that I do know were really interested in this case coming to the school. They were excited. You know, nothing like this has happened here before.
Senior Chelsea Jacka served as a host escorting Minnesota's 7 Supreme Court justices on campus. The venue may be unconventional, but the stakes are real as can be. The argument centered around data collection from cell phones in relation to an actual murder case.
They want to make sure that they choose a case that resonates with the kids, that kids will understand.
The Traveling Oral Arguments program is part of an ongoing effort from the judicial branch. After court adjourned, students could ask questions and take part in educational sessions after lunch. Minnesota's Chief Justice Natalie Hudson says this program is one of their highlights of the year.
This is one of the most delightful things that the court gets an opportunity to do.
According to Hudson, when she was in high school, her interests varied.
I was on my school newspaper. I was a member of my French club. I loved writing, which is something that obviously carried forward into my career.
Her advice to students for a successful career in law or any field:
stay engaged with their education, but also stay engaged with their community.
In Virginia, Rob Coles, Northern News Now.
Yeah, what an amazing experience. Rob, thank you. Now, the court travels to 2 schools every year, one in the spring and one in the fall for this program. The outcome of today's arguments is expected to be announced in the coming